Also today, we have a statement from Colin Powell. Let's listen.
Once again, we see terrorism. We see terrorists, people who don't believe in democracy, people who believe that with the destruction of buildings, with the murder of people, they can somehow achieve a political purpose. They can destroy buildings, they can kill people, and we will be saddened by this tragedy, but they will never be allowed to kill the spirit of democracy. They cannot destroy our society. They cannot destroy our belief in the democratic way. You can be sure that America will deal with this tragedy in a way that brings those responsible to justice. You can be sure that as terrible a day as this is for us, we will get through it because we are a strong nation, a nation that believes in itself. You can be sure that the American spirit will prevail over this tragedy.
That has been echoed across lines as our leaders have been speaking today. You're looking at pictures here, video we just got in from one of our local hospitals, this one in Brooklyn. As you can imagine, hospitals being flooded with injured people. And with those who have passed away in this tragedy today. People holding their noses, a lot of debris, dust, who knows what, just falling, crumbling, crashing down to the ground as people were running for their lives from the World Trade Center buildings today.
We were hearing from Jerry Hauer, former commissioner of New York, who's got a lot of experience in this, just discussing, you know, the huge job, the magnitude of trying to bring people together and what is needed, the resources, the manpower, but again, the volunteerism that we're seeing from across the state and also around the country. Michael O'Leary, you also have some updated information on us on what is needed and where we are at this point with needs.
Ernie, we'll start with schools. The Board of Education says all schools will be let out at the regular times today. New York City schools, PS 89, PS 150, IS 89. Those students have been moved to PS 3. PS 3 is located on Hudson Street between Christopher and Grove, and that's where parents are being asked to go to pick up those students. Subway lines out of service in Manhattan include the A, E, F, and the 7. There is no subway service to Lower Manhattan. Ferry service has been suspended except at Pier 11 at 33rd Street. Those ferries continuing on to New Jersey. As for the tunnels, the outbound Midtown Tunnel, the Whitestone, Throgsnet Bridge, all open. The Bayonne-Goethals Outer Bridge crossing is closed. The Brooklyn Battery Tunnel is also closed. And the LIRR, New Jersey Transit, Metro North all have limited outbound service. And we're being told that people are being let out of Manhattan by the thousands on foot over bridges.
As you look at this live picture, and we're standing by Mayor Giuliani and Governor Pataki on this worst day in New York City history.
All stations stand by.
Okay, we have this news conference that's coming up right now. Mayor Giuliani, who has expressed his anger. We heard earlier from Governor Pataki how the National Guard has moved in and the kind of support that is being presented right now to get us through what we're experiencing at the World Trade Center.
All these hours later, Ernie, the smoke, of course, has not cleared, but there's something so sadly missing from that picture. The Twin Towers were not there as we looked at a live picture of a Lower Manhattan skyline.
And people who may have just turned on their television sets right now at 2:35 in the afternoon, what we are covering for you right now is what we're calling the worst terrorist attack in history, a deadly assault in the United States. Two primary targets, New York City right here and also Washington, D.C. All of this started at around 9 o'clock this morning. And the World Trade Center, of course, in Lower Manhattan is no more. Both towers, as we've said, have been flattened, have been wiped out.
The podium on the left of your screen is where you will see the mayor and the governor address the people. We have not seen them yet together. They have been speaking, reaching out on the phone and at various places. There's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, Governor George Pataki. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon. Today is obviously one of the most difficult days in the history of the city and the country. The tragedy that we're all undergoing right now is something that we've had nightmares about, but probably thought wouldn't happen. My heart goes out to all of the innocent victims of this horrible and vicious act of terrorism, acts of terrorism. And our focus now has to be on saving as many lives as possible. We have hundreds of police officers and firefighters who are engaging in rescue efforts in Lower Manhattan. I want to thank Governor Pataki for the incredible cooperation and coordination, and including deploying the National Guard that will be available to relieve our police officers and firefighters and emergency workers in the next couple of hours. The governor and I just spoke to the President of the United States. The coordination with the federal government from the time of the first attack has been excellent, including closing off the airspace around Manhattan and doing everything that can possibly be done in the face of this barbaric act to make the city secure. And we will strive now very hard to save as many people as possible and to send a message that the city of New York and the United States of America is much stronger than any group of barbaric terrorists, that our democracy, that our rule of law, that our strength and our willingness to defend ourselves will ultimately prevail. And I'd ask the people of New York City to do everything that they can to cooperate, not to be frightened, to go about their lives as normal. Everything is safe right now in the city, and the people who are doing the relief effort need all the help they can get. And then, Governor, thank you very much for your assistance and your help and your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership through this crisis. This is a vicious attack upon New York. It's an attack upon America. It's an attack upon the whole concept of freedom and our way of life. And we cannot let these attacks succeed. The first step has to be to make sure we do everything in our power to protect the people and to save the lives of those whose lives are still at risk, and to help those who have been injured. And I want to commend the mayor, and I want to thank my colleagues from Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and the federal government have all offered and made ready support to help us deal with this ongoing crisis. The people of New York are not only the freest and most diverse people in the world, we're also, I believe, the most capable of rising to meet the challenges of this type of attack. And right now, we want New Yorkers to remain calm, to go about their business, to appreciate the fact that everything to provide for their safety is being done, to appreciate that everything that can be done to provide for the health and the needs of the people who are still at risk is being done, and that we will continue to work to make sure that we get through this as strongly and quickly as possible. I want to thank the federal administration. Secretary Thompson has been on the phone with me a number of times, as well as the President, for what they are offering and prepared to do. And we're just confident that, well, this is a horrible attack, and one that is despicable and really unthinkable in its magnitude. We will get through this, and we will continue to have a great and free country, state, and society.
Do we know the number of casualties at this point, sir?
I don't think we really want to speculate about that. The number of casualties will be more than any of us can bear ultimately, and I don't think we want to speculate on the number of casualties. The effort now has to be to save as many people as possible. And I don't think we will know the answer to that until sometime tomorrow or the next day.
Were there large numbers of firefighters?
There are a large number of firefighters and police officers who are in harm's way, and we don't know how many we've lost. But there's no doubt we've lost some firefighters and police officers.
Do you know anything about the cause of the explosions that brought the two buildings down yet? Was it caused by the planes or by something else?
We believe that it was caused by the after effects of the planes hitting the buildings. We don't know of an additional explosion afterward.
Mr. Mayor, could you tell us, do you expect any further attacks on New York? Is there anything to indicate that there could be more bombs, more planes out there? I know originally there was a report that 8 planes had been hijacked, 4 have only been accounted for. What about the remaining 4? And is there any possibility that there could be bombs on the ground planted by some...
We have no specific information to that effect. Obviously, the city is now closed. The airspace around the city is closed, and we are on heightened alert. But we have no specific information suggesting any further attack.
Can you tell us where the planes came from?
Major warships coming into the port of New York.
I think to give the people of New York confidence, to show that the federal government is standing with us, and to just to make certain that nothing further happens. This has been a very, very difficult and traumatic day for the people of the United States and the people of the city. And I think that it's an act that shows that the federal government is going to do everything they can to support us and help us.
Can you give us an idea of the extent of the rescue effort that's going on right now in Lower Manhattan? What the scope of this operation?
There are over 1,000 rescue workers, probably about 2,000 that are deployed, trying to get into the buildings, trying to find people, trying to search for people. The governor and I spoke a couple of hours ago. The governor has deployed the National Guard to relieve them because our people are going to need reinforcements pretty soon. But right now they don't want to leave because they're searching for innocent citizens, and they're searching for some of their brothers and sisters.
Are you finding survivors?
Yes, we have some numbers that we can give you. We have 1,500 people at Liberty State Park who were evacuated, described as walking wounded. They were evacuated by ferry and other means. There are about 600, as of about 15 minutes ago, in local hospitals that we account for, 600 people that are being treated in local hospitals.